Sookie's in the middle of this somewhere. A town where HBO films the vampire show True Blood now has a real crisis on its hands. Some 6 million pounds of explosives. 6 million pounds, forcing cops to evacuate around 400 people from their homes. The real-life town is Doyline, Louisiana. It's in the northwest part of the state. Police there say a company was illegally storing these dangerous M6 explosives, the stuff found in military artillery. According to the company's website, it recycles old Army explosives into dynamite. But cops say they had the explosives dangerously packed in every corner of the warehouse. State cops in Louisiana accuse it of, quote, careless and reckless disregard, made it unsafe for their employees, for school children in Doyline, for the town of Doyline. Now, as crews work to remove 6 million pounds of explosives, hundreds of families need someplace else to stay.
I would have been putting up Christmas lights. But guess what? I'm not at home.
It's hard to try to find somewhere, you ain't got the resources to really put yourself up nowhere.
Well, as I mentioned, Doyline might be better known around the country as one of the fictional homes of Bon Temps, the town that's no stranger to some pretty dangerous situations like vampires and werewolves and men who can turn into dogs and Sookie. But nothing like millions and millions of pounds of explosives. Joining us now is Colonel Mike Edmondson. He's the superintendent of the Louisiana State Police. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chef. Thank you.
Yeah, when I read it was Bon Temps, I'm like, okay, 6 million pounds of explosive. This is outside the rules, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. And what really scares me, I've been involved in state police for 33 years. My belief is the public has a right to know. We need to let them know exactly what's lying ahead of them. We look at worst case scenario, but how do you prepare for something that you don't want to know is going to happen? I mean, 6 million pounds of a propellant, a dangerous explosive, we don't need to know what happens when that goes up. And had my trooper that had gone back, October 15th, there was an explosion. He was following up on that explosion, asked to see the rest of the property, and actually back to the back end of it, went into one of the buildings, and through an open door, he saw something that disturbed him. He went in, he looked out the window, it was everywhere. The guy that was with him, Chef, actually got in his car and left him back there. Of course, he called him to come back and get him, but what unfolded, we initially thought was maybe a little over 1 million pounds of the explosives. What we're finding out as of, I was there yesterday afternoon, and they told me it's in excess of 6 million pounds. These are some little tablets, little pellets, and it's packed in. It's used as a propellant to project it. But you know what? We're dealing with something that you've got the town of Doyline is 4,000 feet away. Doyline High School was within that perimeter. There's a little over a mile away is a parish jail. Camp Menden is a National Guard facility where we have actually classes going on there. So all that's on hold right now as it's methodically.
I was going to say, how the heck you get all that stuff out of there to keep people safe?
We're going in these buildings, and let me tell you something. They just stuffed this stuff in buildings, placed on top of each other. We actually went into the inside of it and worked our way out. We filled up over 30 18-wheelers. What we're trying to do is get that material out of where it is, placed into an approved igloo magazine container so that we can work into it. And we'll probably have a better idea tomorrow afternoon just how long that town's going to be closed down and evacuated. We're letting people go back in at night. They're certainly taking care of their animals and stuff like that. But very, very dangerous situation. We're going to visit with those owners when they get back in the country.
Yeah, I bet you will. Colonel Mike Edmondson from Louisiana State Police. Colonel, thanks. We'll be right back.